Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for the release of Mass Effect Legendary in a couple days, and I bet you are too. So today I'm going to talk to you about Liara. Dr. Liara Tassoni is an Asari researcher specializing in Prothean technology, culture, and their extinction event. She goes through quite a character arc over the course of the trilogy, starting out as a gentle and kind of naive scientist and eventually overtaking the Shadow Broker and taking his network from him. She's a pivotal character in Shepard's life, and she manages her evolution in a very natural story arc, remaining true to her innate character and proving that one does not have to be stone cold to be strong. We initially encounter Liara after an embarrassing incident in Mass Effect 1, in which she comes off as a little bit overly naive and kind of lacking in self-confidence. But if you continue to interact with her, you'll get to know Liara as the graceful and accomplished and elegant female that she actually is. And there's no way to tell you Liara's story without game spoilers. And though I've left out a lot of specifics about the main game, I really can't tell you about Liara's story without also revealing a lot about Shepard's story. Her story is deeply important to Shepard's own, and it's deeply entwined with his. So I really can't tell her story without game spoilers, so just be aware. Thanks so much. Okay, let's go. Liara is a potential romance interest for either a male or female Shep. For this video, I'm going to refer to Shepard as a him because most of my footage was recorded with a male Shep, but understand that it can be either a male or female Shep. Liara is the default romance of the series, so I'm going to view her through that lens because her character arc is best viewed when you can see it to its fullest in that regard. So as the default romance of the series, she will always care about Shepard, she can't die, and she's always Shepard's friend, even if friends is all they ever are. Liara is an Asari born on Thessia, the Asari homeworld, in 2077. When you meet her, Liara is 106 years old, which to the Asari lifespan is equivalent to a very young adult. So, while she is of legal age under Citadel law, she's not taken seriously by the other Asari, as they consider her too young for her research to be academically reputable. She also happens to be a lovely and doe-eyed girl who hasn't had a lot of life experience, so initially she comes off as passive, maybe even submissive. But remember, Shepard and most of his squad are in their upper 20s and low 30s in human years. They have much more life experience, whereas Liara is, by Asari standards, much more like an 18 or 19-year-old. So what you're actually seeing there is youth and inexperience and uncertainty. She's the only child of matriarch Benezia, and her mother raised her alone. About her father, she only knew that her father was another Asari. And now a note about Asari reproduction. Asari gender is defined. They are female, but they are innately physiologically different from humans. For Asari, can mate and successfully reproduce with any other gender of any other species through form of parthenogenesis the Asari call melding. So even though they have one gender, they are not asexual. They do in fact require a partner to reproduce. But when referring to mother and father, the father is merely an identifying term that can mean a male or female of basically any species with whom the Asari has chosen to reproduce. Asari culture frowns on pure-blood parenting because it brings nothing new to the bloodlines, and Liara is a pureblood. She speculates this to be the reason why her father apparently does not wish to be identified and has left her life before she can even remember them. But in any event, her mother Benezia has a high position in Asari culture as a cultural teacher and religious leader, and that means that Liara grows up facing high expectations from everyone. You'll find out from talking to Liara in the first game that her mother tried to teach her how to survive Asari politics and to use manipulative skills to negotiate for the Asari in galaxy politics, but Liara rejected this future for herself and chose instead a career in archaeology because it both aligned with her interests in history and enabled her to escape into a more solitary world of books and learning, away from the pressures of being the daughter of such a prominent figure in galactic affairs. From an early age, Liara became fascinated with the extinct Protheans, and that study becomes her scientific passion. Her studies allowed Liara to live in happy solitude, traveling to various dig sites, libraries, and the like. And so, up until the moment we meet her with Shepard, she has lived her young life in the very quiet world of academics for the most part, and only relatively recently, now that she's a legal adult, has she been traveling to dig sites to work and study. In 2183, her work takes her to Knossos in the Artemis Tau cluster, to the site of a Prothean ruin on the mining planet Therum. Geth forces show up, and so Liara hides in the catacombs and activates its barrier curtains. However, she accidentally suspends herself in an energy field and becomes trapped. After Benezia's involvement with the renegade specter Saren Arterius is exposed, Commander Shepard travels to Therum to find Liara and find out what she knows, and that's how we meet her, trapped in an energy field, a bit disoriented and even seeming a bit ditzy. When Shep and Liara talk shortly after her rescue, she tells him that she's used to spending a great deal of time alone. She's a bit in awe of the commander, which is understandable given that she's unfamiliar with humans and she's just seen him kill a Krogan battlemaster, which is no easy feat. So she's out of her depth. Asari can learn about each other by looking into each other's minds, and Liara, aware that humans do not possess this power and assuming that it would be considered rude, chooses instead to learn about Shep the academics way. She looks him up online. When she mentions this to Shep, his reaction is very understandable to us. You could have just asked me. But Liara has no idea that that's considered to be stalker creepy to humans. She needed context. She couldn't obtain it the way an Asari could. She also casually mentions to Shep in conversation that she sometimes has trouble with pirates and criminals, but that her biotics are more than enough for her to defend herself. So casually does she mention her biotics that it's easy to miss the rather overt truth, that she is an accomplished and powerful biotic fighter in her own right. She may be quieter and more stereotypically feminine than you might expect, but only a fool would mistake gentleness for weakness. Shepard is given a lot of lines where he reacts to Liara's femininity and gentleness by telling her he'll protect her, but Liara will refute the assumption that she's helpless by telling Shepard straight out that she's not looking for protection and doesn't need it. And actually, if you put Liara in your party, she pretty much wrecks every enemy you come up against. She has a near total focus on biotics and is a very capable fighter. She is, in fact, such a powerful biotic that Rex will comment on it by wondering out loud who would win in a fight between Shepard and Liara. Shepard's team soon learn that Liara hasn't spoken to her mother in years and really has no idea what she's doing. When Liara asks why the Geth are after her, they speculate that Saren may have wanted her Prothean expertise to help him find the conduit. Liara's knowledge of the conduit is really limited to the knowledge only that it was connected to the Prothean extinction. Her research uncovered patterns that hint to a galactic cover-up, and though she can't prove anything, her intuition tells her that her suspicions are correct. She shares her theory of cyclical extinction with Shepard, that the Protheans were just the latest in a long line of civilizations eliminated at the apex of their power. So when Shep tells her of the Reaper's responsibility in the Protheans' extinction, she immediately believes him. Her scientific interest in remaining with Shepard will become a romantic interest if Shepard chooses. If Shep pursues Liara, she'll eventually reveal she's never been intimate with anyone before and she finds the idea daunting and she needs some time. She is, after all, very young. But even if Shepard pursues another love interest, Liara will always care about Shepard and she will remain arguably his greatest friend throughout the series. After the events of the opening of Mass Effect 2, Liara's focus shifts entirely to the investigation of the Reaper technology and their history, and she becomes pretty obsessive on the topic. And it's in this time frame that Liara will perform probably her greatest service to Shepard, for it's Liara who goes to the massive undertaking of obtaining Shepard's remains, which she has come to learn have been found and are being sold to the Shadow Broker. She determines to see Shep for herself and find out what's going on. So 2 months after the disappearance of Commander Shepard, Liara charters a ride on a freighter to Omega, only to run straight into the snipers, which turn out to be Cerberus operatives led by Miranda Lawson. Miranda explains that Cerberus believes they can bring Shep back, and Liara is intrigued enough to go with them to meet the Elusive Man. The Elusive Man knows perfectly well that Liara will do everything in her power to stop the Collectors from obtaining Shepard's body, and Liara does promise to cooperate, at least in Shepard's retrieval. Liara seeks a meeting with Omega's Arya T'Loak. Arya wants to know why the broker's interested in Shepard, and Liara tells her it's for the Collectors, which pisses Arya off enough to threaten them. But Liara stands her ground and demands Arya give them information, and so the Queen of Omega gives them the location where the Blue Suns are set to hand over Shepard's body to the Shadow Broker. They are later able to take the meetings by surprise and flee with Shepard's body. As promised, she brings the corpse to Cerberus, where the elusive man seems confident he can bring him back with his Project Lazarus. Liara then leaves Shep with them. For Liara, the 2 years after Shepard's death is a dark time. She's a compassionate, gentle, and sweet person, and her romance with Commander Shepard helped bring these qualities even further to the surface, only to see her heart broken upon his death. She mourns the commander for 2 years, becoming hostile and short-tempered along the way, and her involvement with the criminal underworld while pursuing the Shadow Broker turns her to her darker nature. She becomes colder and more ruthless. Eventually, Shepard's resurrection brings her back more closely to the person she once was. As Shepard's default romance, Liara's story arc is more fully realized if Shep does decide to romance her. But again, even if not, she's a devoted and true friend, and she's the only one of his companions who go after him if he dies. It's no surprise then that it is Liara who is featured in the trailer for Mass Effect 4. Liara subverts the stereotype of the warm and feminine but helpless female by being fully capable of kicking her ass if you get in her way. I love that about her. Let me know your thoughts about Liara in the comments. Who will you be romancing in Mass Effect Legendary? Thanks a lot and enjoy your day. Cheers.